The wind howled through the steel cables of the Golden Gate Bridge as Sarah Martinez gripped the railing with trembling fingers. Below her, the dark waters of San Francisco Bay churned like her thoughts, so endless, chaotic, suffocating. At 23, she felt like she'd already lived 1,000 lifetimes of disappointment. The latest rejection letter from her dream job crumpled in her jacket pocket seemed to mock her with every gust of wind. "Another trust fund kid gets the position," she whispered to herself, the words stolen by the night air. "What's the point of trying when the game's rigged from the start?" The city lights blurred through her tears as she contemplated taking that final step. Nobody would miss her, not her absent father who'd never acknowledged her existence. Not her overwhelmed mother working 3 jobs just to keep their tiny apartment. Sarah was just another invisible person in a city full of dreams and broken promises. That's when she heard the gentle voice behind her. "Don't jump." Sarah turned to see a man in his 60s wearing a janitor's uniform, his kind eyes reflecting decades of quiet wisdom. His name tag read Miguel, and despite the late hour, he held a steaming cup of coffee in his weathered hands. "I wasn't going to," she began, but the lie caught in her throat. Miguel set down his coffee and slowly approached, his movements careful and non-threatening. "I've worked this bridge for 15 years, cleaning up after the tourists and commuters. I've seen that look before, Mija. That look that says the world's got no place for you. You don't understand," Sarah choked out. "I've got nothing. No job, no future, no family that cares. I'm nobody." "Nobody?" Miguel's eyebrows rose. "Let me tell you something about nobody. I came to this country with nothing but the clothes on my back and a daughter to feed. Worked 3 jobs, sent every penny I could to bring my family here. You know what kept me going? The hope that maybe, just maybe, I could make a difference in someone's life." He pulled out his phone and showed her a photo of a young woman in a graduation cap and gown. "My daughter Rosa, she's a doctor now, emergency room physician at UCSF. You know what she tells me? That the janitor who raised her taught her more about healing than any textbook ever could." Sarah felt her grip on the railing loosen slightly. But what if it doesn't matter? What if all the trying, all the hoping, it's just pointless? Miguel moved closer, his voice gentle but firm. "Mija, I don't know your story, but I know pain when I see it. And I know that pain can lie to you. It can make you believe you're alone when you're not. It can make you think there's no way forward when there are 1,000 paths you haven't seen yet." "Easy for you to say," Sarah muttered, but there was less venom in her voice now. "Is it?" Miguel smiled sadly. "You think I haven't stood where you're standing? Not on this bridge, but in dark places of the heart. The night Rosa got sick with meningitis when she was 7, and I couldn't afford the hospital bills. The day I got fired from my first job here because my English wasn't good enough. The moment I realized I might never see my wife again because the cancer took her before I could bring her to America." Sarah stared at him, seeing the pain etched in the lines of his face, but also something else: resilience, hope, an unbreakable spirit. "But you know what I learned?" Miguel continued. "Every sunrise is a new chance. Every person you meet might be the one who changes everything. Every small act of kindness creates ripples you'll never see." "I applied for this job today," Sarah whispered. "Marketing coordinator at Meridian Industries. I was perfect for it, top of my class, internship experience, stellar recommendations. But they gave it to someone else. Someone connected. Someone who matters." Miguel's eyes widened. "Meridian Industries, the big tech company downtown?" "You know it. I clean their offices at night," he said quietly. "Been doing it for 10 years. And you know what? I've seen that CEO, Richard Meridian, stay late countless nights. Know why? His daughter. She's been struggling, running wild, making headlines for all the wrong reasons. He told me once, during one of those long nights, that he'd give up everything he built if he could just reach her, if he could show her that success means nothing without compassion. Something in Miguel's tone made Sarah look at him more carefully. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because, Mija, maybe you not getting that job wasn't the end of your story, maybe it was the beginning of someone else's." He paused, studying her face in the dim light. "What did you say your last name was?" "I didn't." "It's Martinez." "Sarah Martinez." Miguel's face went pale. He pulled out his phone again, this time opening a news article. The headline read, "Tech CEO's search for estranged daughter continues." Below it was a photo of a younger version of Sarah, maybe 16, with different colored hair but unmistakably the same eyes. "Sweet Mary," Miguel breathed. "You're her. You're Elena Meridian, Richard's daughter." Sarah staggered backward. "That's impossible. My father's name isn't Richard. My mother never told me." But even as she spoke, fragments of memory surfaced. Her mother's evasive answers about her father, the way she'd insisted they use her maiden name, the mysterious monthly deposits that kept them afloat when money got tight. "Your father's been looking for you for 5 years," Miguel said urgently. "Ever since your mother moved and changed your name after their divorce. He's hired investigators, put out ads, never stopped hoping. He thinks you hate him, that you want nothing to do with his world." Tears streamed down Sarah's face, but for the first time in months, they weren't tears of despair. He's been looking for me, every day. I've seen him cry, Mija. Seen him blame himself for not fighting harder to stay in your life. He thinks his money ruined everything between him and your mother, so he stayed away to give you both peace." Sarah looked out over the water, then back at this gentleman who just changed everything. "Why didn't you recognize me before?" Miguel smiled. "Because when someone's drowning in pain, you don't see who they used to be. You see who they need to become." As dawn broke over San Francisco Bay, Sarah Martinez or Elena Meridiana walked off that bridge with Miguel beside her. 3 hours later, she sat in her father's office, not as a job applicant, but as a daughter coming home. Richard Meridian wept openly as he held the child he'd never stopped loving, never stopped hoping to find. Miguel watched from the doorway, his janitor's cart beside him, knowing that sometimes the most important job in the world is simply being present when someone needs to remember they matter. Sometimes the greatest success isn't what you build, it's what you help someone else rebuild within themselves. 6 months later, Sarah started her own non-profit, connecting runaway teens with their families. And every night, Miguel still cleaned those offices, still carried that same gentle wisdom, still believed that every person he met might need someone to remind them not to jump, and that tomorrow, the sun would rise again.